I'm Hailey, and I'm the triage coordinator at Mel Charter Ministries. My junior year of college, I had the opportunity to go on an immersion trip to Denver, Colorado, and there I worked with their underserved, underfunded populations, and I ended up at an organization that is a day center for homeless teens. And I will be honest with you, I was incredibly scared to go in that building. It's a big warehouse, lots of couches, lots of activity, animals, individuals, everything. And around lunchtime, I ended up sitting down at lunch at a table with about 20 guys on it. And I sat across from this individual and he looked me dead in the eyes and he said, "Why are you here?" And I said, "I'm Hailey. I'm from Hope College. I'm here serving." And he was like, "No, why are you actually here?" And I was like, "Well, I told you, Hope College, I'm here on an immersion trip." And he looked at me and said, "I'm pretty sure you didn't have to come all the way to Denver to find someone experiencing homelessness." And I was like, whew, you're not wrong. But I'm here and I'm trying to do better. And he was like, "Later this afternoon, you won't look me in the eyes on the street. It's so easy for you to come into a place like this and serve for one day and feel so good about yourself, but you won't acknowledge my presence later tonight." And I was like, wow, and I went away from that and I told him that I was going to go back and I was going to do better. I was going to do something, and later that night I was walking to dinner with my immersion group and I saw him on the street corner and I was like, "Guys, give me a minute. I need to go talk to this individual." So I walked up to him and he said, "I saw you walking down the road and I was very interested to see if you would come and talk to me. And I told myself that if you did, I would do better too." And so I came back here and I talked to anybody who would listen to me about my experience, and one thing led to another and I found myself at an internship here and I left for a little bit and then I came back and I've been here ever since. As a triage coordinator, I help support and oversee the team that sits in the day center, the triage staff, and we help connect guests to different resources. We help get them involved in different things around the mission. We connect them to housing resources or food stamps or help them set up disability, those different types of things. Overall, I connect with outside organizations to help connect guests when they have housing referrals. I help fill out applications for housing, connect them to those types of resources. When I first started here, I sat down in our old CEO's office and he looked at me and he said, "The difference between us and the guest is not a lot. We're all broken people. We're just broken in different ways." And I think that has stuck with me during my time here. Being able to fight for someone who doesn't have a voice or feels voiceless and to empower them to move on and do something far greater. They deserve so much more than to be here at Mel Trotter. I tell them all the time, I love that they're here, but I'd love it even more if they were successful outside of this organization. So to be able to look at the greater world in a new light, that everybody's going through something and you never know what day you're gonna meet somebody, whether it's out at Meijer and the cashier is having a really bad day and you never know what somebody's going through. And so I think that's like the biggest impact this place has had on me. This past week, we had a guest move into housing and he's been with us on and off for what feels like years. He will come stay with us for a little bit. He'll go stay under a bridge. He'll go stay with family. He bounces around from place to place. And on Wednesday, he moved into housing. And Wednesday morning, I was down in the day center and it was early in the morning, the breakfast line was going, the bed line was going, and some guy yelled from across the room, "Hey, doesn't that guy have a house?" And he smiled and was super excited. And he was like, yeah, I do. I'm going there later today. I don't need a bed tonight. And then the entire day center just erupted and they were just so excited for him. And to work with him from start to finish has just been a lot, but it's super exciting to see that he's so excited about where he's going. I started with him at step one of, "Hey, there's this possibility of this housing opportunity. What do you think?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then next thing I know, he's like, "Do you remember the password to my email?" I'm like, no, you know? And so to move him in, he got furniture, all the things. It's just great to see. There was a gentleman who has now moved into housing and has been successful for a little over a year now. And he was what one might call very difficult. He would yell a lot, he would cause disturbances, he was just always like, when he walked into the room, you were like, okay, let's keep an eye out for him, you know? And one day he was doing his laundry and he couldn't get the laundry machine to work and he didn't know what was happening and he was so angry, and I walked over there and I asked him, like, you know, what's the root of this problem? And he looked at me and he was like, nobody has ever cared about me. And I was like, the laundry machine won't work, you know? What? Where did this come from? And he's like, nobody's cared to know where I came from, why I am the way that I am. You know, like, I yell for XYZ reason because nobody listens. And so to be able to work with him through that, and then to work through, okay, like maybe yelling isn't our best form of communication, hasn't worked up to this point, so let's try something else. And so to be able to work through like all of the steps of like, this is how you should communicate with others, to this is how, when you walk into the office to go sign your lease for your apartment, how you should approach the individuals. And so for him to be successful for over a year is just great. If I were to share one thing with anyone who's unfamiliar with Mel Trotter, homelessness in general, is that if you see someone who is experiencing homelessness or you think is experiencing homelessness, they are human too. And all they want in life is just to feel loved. We all do. And so even a smile, a look in the eyes is something that could completely change someone's day. And so to acknowledge the presence of others is something that I'd like all of us to do.